Hello, my name is Agus Syahiddin, and I am from class A. And today I'm going to present something related to my task given in my teaching methodology class. So the title of my presentation today is about a chapter reading report of theoretical approaches and research-based pedagogies for online teaching. And the book that I use is uh, Developing Online Language Teaching, Research-Based Pedagogies, and Reflective Practices, written by or edited by Regine Hampel and Ursula Stickler. And I also support the summary, the essay, the articles with other resources from other books and journals. Right. So in the beginning of the chapter, it mostly talk about computer-assisted language learning, or CALL. So we can call it as a call. The aim of developing the call is to improve the quality of language teaching. And then the software is created, but to use the computer to help educators implement educational aim. So in this case, teachers and practitioners and educators are willing to be internet savvy and also advanced in technology. And teachers need to learn how to transfer exercises of the language laboratory type to the computer, and how to use the computers in an imaginative manner, and know how to continue to explore the various avenues of language learning methods, even if progress must, if of necessity, be relative slow. And it's mentioned by Cameron 1988 in her book. And then learners use computers for many different purposes, and therefore teachers, classroom researchers, and software developers need to concern about what kind of call tasks may be beneficial for the students. And it's stated by Cafel in 2001 in her book. And the last one is, in a time where technology and the internet are very close to today's education, teachers are asked to involve technology in the teaching and learning process. So it's no longer something that the teachers can avoid. So today, especially during this pandemic situation, so teachers are forced to use the technology. Right. So in this presentation, I'm going to discuss about socio-cultural theory, and then the pedagogy, and the theories and frameworks for online educations, approaches and methodology, and critical thinkings, and the last one is conclusion. Okay, number one is socio-cultural theory. The word socio-cultural theory, it was initiated by Lev S. Vygotsky, or we have been familiar with the names Vygotsky. And socio-cultural theory, it relates individual mental processes to cultural, institutional, and historical contexts, and emphasize the mediating role of culture in the development of higher psychological functions, which can be identified as thinking, reasoning, awareness, or use of signs such as language. Right. So here we try to connect the sociocultural theory, why it is suitable to use in online teaching learning method. So first, sociocultural theory is influential in terms of theorizing online learning and teaching. And nowadays, sociocultural theory has been taken into consideration in the design of online distance education technologies. And sociocultural theory is to design online learning environment which learners feel connected to peers and teachers in a virtual classroom. Even though they don't see each other in the same room, but they can still feel connected. And then the fourth, from the perspective of sociocultural theory, community building in asynchronous learning network poses a particular challenge because learners are often not together physically or even virtually. We can say that. And then the online environment also has the potential of facilitate a shift from considering teachers as instructors to assessing their mediating role in the learning process. And last, when using new technologies, teachers need to be aware that this is part of the social context in which learning takes place. And they must be able to realize the potential and face challenges. Yeah, so be aware of that and think about the social context while you guys as a teacher make the materials and in the online learning. Okay, and the second part is pedagogy. So I'm going to talk about pedagogy here. Pedagogy is defined simply as a method and practice of teaching. And the different pedagogical approaches could be broken down into three categories based on Visiano in 2017. So they are behaviorism, constructivism, social constructivism. So behaviorism itself, it is a study of analyzing and studying how learners behave while learning. So it focuses on the learner-centered. And then the second one is cognitivism. Cognitivism is a reaction to the rigid emphasis by behaviorists on predictive stimulus and response. And then the third one is social constructivism. We can say that social constructivism is a blend of two priorities. So there are two main focus here: teacher guided and learner centered. Right. And then the third topic that I'm going to talk is the theories and the framework for online education. So I have 9 things to be understood about the theories and framework for online education. So when we want to have the online teaching learning process, first we have to gain attention. We have to consider that we need to gain attention of the learners. So we can use the media that relevant to the topic. So we don't only teach by having us in a frame and then I talk too much, but I don't use any supporting medias like videos, PowerPoint, or articles, and etc. And then the second one is describe the goal. So have to consider the objectives. If I use these materials, if I use this method, so what is the goal? What is the objectives? And I have to provide clearly the objectives to the overall course goals. And then the third one is stimulate prior knowledge. We review previous presented materials and also the concepts, and then try to connect them to the materials to be addressed in the current module. And then the fourth, present the materials to be learned. So we have to, we can ask the students to read, to do the presentation, or we do the presentation, or make a demonstration, or we use the multimedia, or ask them to make them like a task dealing with the multimedia, and then graphics, audio files, animation, and etc. So we have to present the materials to be learned. So we can make the materials itself, or we can ask the students to do the tasks, right? So but here we focus on the text for readings and the slides for presenting, and the demo and the multimedia could be the listening audio and etc., or the video, and then the graphics and animation, etc. And then next, the fifth is provide guidance for learning. Discussions, it's necessary to enable learners to actively reflect on new informations in order to check their knowledge and understanding of content. And then the sixth, elicit performance. We elicit the students' performance and also the teaching learning process performance. Activity-based learning such as group research project, discussions, homework, and etc. They are used to elicit the performance. And then provide feedback. As a teacher, teacher should provide feedback. So teacher cannot just ask the students to do tasks, but we need to give them some feedbacks uh, and make some evaluations, and then tell the students why they did good, very well, or why they didn't do it quite well, something like that. Okay, and then the next one is assess performance. As we know that we need an assessment to test the students. So the assessment activities such as a task, research project, essay, or presentations, they can be used to assess the students. And then the last one is enhance retention and transfer. Provide opportunities for additional guided practice or projects that might relate learning to other real life activities, right? Okay, and then the fourth is approaches. So there are three suitable approaches in online teaching learning. First is task-based language teaching. The second is telecollaborations and intercultural learning. And the third is mobile-assisted language learning. Task-based language teaching. Task-based language teaching, they are based on tasks. So the teachers don't give the students tasks, but tasks, make them practice. Okay, so these are the lists. First, use tasks, not tasks, as the unit of analysis. And then second, promote learning by doing. And then complex input, but don't oversimplify. Yeah, so we know that there are a stage of the difficulties, and then just rely on original text. Be creative, and then give rich input. Provide a lot of resources, and then encourage inductive learning. Encourage the chunks, the way the system they can study by themselves. They can be independent to get all the knowledge, but still under supervision of the teachers. And then focus on forms and provide negative feedback and respect the student's syllabus or developmental process and promote cooperative or collaborative learning and individualization of instructions according to communicative and psycholinguistic needs. Okay, and then there are 4 questions that the teacher or the educators or the software developers need to consider if they want to apply the task-based language teaching. So first, what types of tasks are suitable for what purpose? So for example, if you talk about or you want to teach about negotiation, so you can use the samples of dialogues, and then you can show a video of negotiating process and etc. And then number 2, how is the task as work plan implemented in the online classroom? Yeah, so you have to, as a teacher, you have to consider that questions as well. And then number 3, how do teachers create conditions that enable learning in task-based setting? And the last one, how can teachers step back while they're supporting students when needed? Right. Okay. And the second approach is telecollaborations and intercultural learning. So there are, okay, the word telecollaborations, we can identify that it refers to collaboration. So tele means use the technology. So for example, you have a friends or you know somebody as a teacher in another province or other countries, they have the same what method or the class levels or the mission or vision in teaching. So you can ask them to collaborate with you. So exchange the materials, exchange the schedule. So ask them to teach your students. You can ask the students, or you can ask the students to contact their students, contact the teachers. So it can be anything. So here the success factors in the important role of the teachers. So first, there needs to be an equal level of commitment among partners. So you have to make sure that the other teacher that you want to collaborate, they have same commitment. And then the second one, both parties must agree to make culture the focal point of the language courses they teach. Okay, there must be an agreement to make culture the focal point of the language courses. And then third, logistic need to be worked out, such as what day, time of the week, what time of the week, and how often classes on both sides meet. So you can arrange the schedule with the other teachers, right? And then the last one, the website requires constant and close maintenance. So if you use Google, or Google is free, but if you use not free website, so you have to pay the fee, like monthly or yearly. Yeah, right. Okay, and these are if we want to make a collaborations, but we want to put the task-based language learning and teaching. So here are the questions. One, how do teachers create conditions that enable learning in a telecollaborative and intercultural environment? Think about the condition that enable learning in a telecollaborative and intercultural environment. And then two, what types of tasks are suitable? For example, let's make this task. The topic is how to make the students are able to, well, to contact supplier to order something from a supplier. So you can ask the other students, the other teachers' students email address, and then give the email address to your students, and then ask them to write emails to the other students, and then the other students in the other teachers or in the other school, so they will send you the respond the email. Or you can ask, maybe getting to know cultures in other country. It can also be provided as a task. Okay, and then the third one is, how do learners need to support it so that they can collaboratively build cultural knowledge, building intercultural competence, and develop their language skills. And number four, what is the impact of engaging in collaborative and intercultural projects on the identity of learners? And the last one, how do groups interact online? So think about those questions while you want to have a telecollaborations with your acquaintance or a friend, or a pen pal, or somebody you know in other countries or in other provinces, which hopefully they have a different culture that will be more interesting, right? Okay, and the third one is mobile assisted language learning, or it can be shortened by saying MALL. We can call it as a MALL, M-A-L-L. The MALL stands for Mobile Assisted Language Learning, and it hasn't been extensively investigated, and research is still needed to explore this challenge. And then these are 5 possible questions if you want to have the mobile assisted language learning. First, what types of support do students need and how can this be provided? Second, how should assignments be designed to promote successful learning? Three, what is the role of the context in which learning takes place? Four, how can social interactions and communications be built into mobile language learning projects? And five, in what ways can informal mobile learning activities be integrated into more conventional classroom setting? I think if we see these current situations, I think it's been common here. Teachers use Google Classroom, which is accessible in a smartphone, and most students now they have smartphones, but not all. But most of students have a smartphone. They can do the assignments through smartphone. Yeah, and it's been running very good, right? Okay, and it's easier for the students because not all students own laptop. So, but with smartphone, most of them they have a smartphone. So we have to consider that something that will help them and convenience for them. Okay, right. So number 5 is methodology. Right. So the first thing that I'm going to describe is the qualitative interpretive. So the methodology presented in this chapter is qualitative and interpretive. It doesn't deal with numbers. So it's more about text, images, audio or video recordings. So the data is obtained by observations, interviews, and many more. Right. So here, Becker et al. Suggest that the exploratory questions suitable as the base of qualitative inquiry are typically used when. So consider these situations if you want to conduct and use the exploratory questions. When there is little known in particular research area or existing research is still confusing, yeah, you can do that one. Contradictory or not moving forward. And C, the topic is highly complex. And then the words interpretive, you can, well, the word interpretive, it starts with the why and how. So once you've got the purpose, the aim to do the qualitative interpretive method, so you put a question in your mind: why does this happen, or why does the phenomenon come about, and how does it unfold over time? How does it happen, and many things, and etc. Right. And then the next one is participatory research. It's related to participants, right? Right, of course. Yes, participatory research recognizes the value of ordinary people's knowledge. So by having an interview people, so we accept their answers as our resources. So we value their knowledge, we value their information. Okay, and then there are various ways to involve participants in research, such as questionnaires and interviews. And narrative methods include learners' diaries. It could be written or audio recording or video documentation collected by research participants. Right. Okay, I'm gonna move to the next slide. The next one is action research. Action research leads to social action and brings about change. And it's almost similar like participatory research because it involves research participants as well in the research process. And then it is often blurring this distinction between researchers and research participants. Okay, action research links research to classroom practice, either it is face-to-face or online, and it has great interest for practitioner or teachers, lecturers wishing to research their own practice. right? Okay, and ethnography, uh, as it is stated by Harmsley and Atkinson in this book, uh, they stated that an ethnography is descriptive record of a community or culture, and usually located outside the West. And ethnography is a research approach used throughout the social science today. And then those researchers try to understand the world from the perspective of the people being observed by taking an insider view rather than the view of an outside researchers. Yeah, right. And then in ethnographic studies, interviews are often used to access people's experiences. Furthermore, analysis of documents collected as secondary data can help researchers provide a more complex picture of the group being studied, right? Okay, and the last one is discourse analysis. In online context, text and audio created are easy to capture, right? And discourse analysis constitutes a possible forms of inquiry. It also requires a collections of written text and or recordings and transcriptions of interactions. And the third one, if the focus of research goes beyond verbal language, transcript needs to include other modes such as body language, action taken, and in the online environment. And also visual representations are used. Right. Okay, and number six is critical thinking. It is based on my thoughts and my opinion. Okay, so I take point of views based on my position when I was a teacher, when I am a student, when I was a software developer, and when I am a principal. Yeah, well, online teaching, learning, uh, when I see from the teacher's point of view, it is good. It saves more time preparing the lessons. Teacher can maximize their time to prepare the lessons. And then it can improve teachers' soft skills. And then it has a huge number of resources in the internet. And it can help teachers to be internet savvy, right? And then as a student, it actually enhances our creativity and time management. So we can do many things because we are not in the classroom. We stay on our table in front of our laptop, but we can also still doing something else while we are studying. For example, having doing, like preparing something, or when the parents call the students to take something, so students can still help the parents and etc. So it's really less time consuming. And then there are millions of informations accessible in the internet. So it is good that students can broaden their knowledge. And then, but the students still expect an engaging materials and techniques, because uh, they can just sit and listen to the teachers or the lecturers for 2 hours, but the materials is not engaging, so they can easily get sleepy, right? There is a maximum limit students can be on the screen, right? And then another point of view I would mention here is as a software developer. I have built up a software, a platform for online learning. I wasn't easy, so I did a survey in the beginning based on the students' complaint of their uh, platform at their schools. Yeah, so the software developers, we have to consider that the product have to consist of learning materials. of course, learning materials. So what to learn, and then social interaction. It could be forum, it could be chatting, it could be what like a wall, like a Facebook wall, like they can post something on the wall, right? And then it must provide reading and speaking practice indicator, not only just listening, grammar, reading, and etc., but how to so the students can record their voice to practice the reading and also the speaking. And then the for the teacher, the software must have the learning management system, and don't make them too complicated for teachers, right? Okay, and then the students and the teachers still hope that it can be installed in a smartphone. It's gonna be effective. Okay, and then the last one, a point of view as a principal. Uh, what we need here is the trainings, and trainings. So teachers are still in need of training. It's it's something new for senior teachers, something new for teachers who didn't really study technology. So we have to provide the teachers training so that they can improve, they can know more, they can be more creative in creating the materials and tasks for the students. Right. Okay, that's my critical thinking, my point of view. Okay, and the last one is conclusion, right? Uh, Based on the book. At the end of the chapter, Hampel reminds the reader, who are also online teachers, to consider how a particular environment and the modes facilitate learning. And then three different language pedagogies, which we have discussed, like task-based language learning and teaching, telecollaborative and intercultural learning, and mobile language learning, also with their project-based and collaborative and real-world focus. There are areas that link to the pedagogical approaches for the online teachers. First, the task design and implementation. So a teacher, you can compare your expectation as a teacher with what happens in the class. Yeah. So does it match or not? So how to make it match? Okay. And then telecollaborations or e-tandem or e-twinning project. Yeah. You examine possible tensions between groups and improving interactions and intercultural learning. Okay, and the third one, learners' interaction using asynchronous or asynchronous tools, right? So for synchronous, you can use Skype or Zoom or Google Meet. For the asynchronous, you can use blog, wiki, or Google Classroom, etc. Yes. Okay. So that's the conclusions I could make from the books I have discussed. Right. Okay. And also the last one before I forgot, the various methodologies are potentially suited to the explorations by teachers themselves or by other researchers interested in different pedagogical aspects. Help them succeed the online teaching learning. Right. Okay. So I think that's all my presentation. Thank you very much and have a good day. Well, if you have questions, please you may ask the questions.